Full-Time Devils, this is the Barcelona preview. Really doesn't get much bigger than that, does it? Quarter-finals of the Champions League. We're going into the second leg. Already losing from the first leg. 4 losses in 6 games. We're getting progressively worse as well, the performances are, as the weeks go on. So, Howson, apart from me being an idiot, why do I still think we can do it?
Apart from you being an idiot, I have no idea why you think you can do it. I mean, everyone who saw my fan cam, last week's preview, everything, I don't think we're doing it. So I don't know why you think we're going to do it.
I don't know. It's something about that first leg. I know that they were the better team and they were better for it, and they almost didn't come out of second gear. It felt like.
I don't think they got out of neutral.
They got out of neutral. But I did feel like Ollie got his tactics okay towards the end of that game, because I felt like we could have gone full pelt and tried to get the equaliser.
I actually thought we got our tactics bang on throughout the game, and even when they scored, we well could have folded. We would have seen United teams in the past even fold, going a goal down at home to a team like that, or maybe twist and go for it too much. But we played our game. We created chances. We had 10 shots, even though none of them was on target. We did create chances. I just thought individuals let us down, and we didn't also play the right football that was hurting them. I thought Marcus Rashford had PK number all day long, and I think if you just... like if Paul Scholes would have been playing with him on that day, Paul Scholes would have just been putting balls into the final third all day long, going, one of these is going to come off, because Marcus has got him for days all day long. We didn't do that. We did it once or twice, it worked, and was like, cool, we won't do that. We'll start spraying it wide for crosses, and it was just, I thought it was decision making from individuals on the pitch rather than the system. I thought the system was fantastic. Luke Shaw at centre half against 99% of teams is the worst decision in football. Luke Shaw against Messi, because it's agile and he's short and they're not going to go long to him. I thought it was inspired.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it was too bad, that first leg, which is why I think I'm well within my rights to say we're still in it for the second leg. Anything can happen. Jay, would you say that it is probably the best time to be playing us at the minute, though? Like I say, 4 defeats in 6. We're not looking great at the minute.
No, even the win on Saturday wasn't great, was it? You know, we were lucky again. Even the win against, was it Watford? Again, we were lucky. We haven't looked great since Paris, funnily enough. I thought Arsenal, okay, you can argue that we probably, I don't think we deserved to lose that. I thought the referee played his part. I thought it was a bit unlucky, but Wolves, a couple of times, not been great. It's just not been great at the minute from United, and I think, yeah, it is arguably the best time to play us since Ollie took over, because we've lost that momentum. We've lost a little bit of that belief. But like Steve was saying, I thought against Barcelona, even though we lost, we weren't terrible. I thought individuals probably didn't do the roles that they'd been given as well as they could have done. But tactically, I thought we did okay. I think personally, we'll find out in the first 5 or 10 minutes, like we did in Paris, whether we've got a chance here. You know, in Paris,
if we score as early as we did in Paris.
If we score, yeah. But you can see straight away we're up for this. It's game on. If we go to the new camp and they're on it straight away, and you can see, you think this is going to be a long night, because if they get a goal first, it's over for me. But
if they get a goal, it actually doesn't matter.
I know it's the same scenario. Like when we went to Madrid that time with G1 it was like the similar sort of scenario, isn't it? It's like if they get a goal.
In our heads, we need to be thinking we have to score 2 regardless. Yeah. They almost get a free goal, really. Yeah. If they score 2, all right, now it's probably going to be double impossible, but I don't think them scoring changes a damn thing. I think we've got to have the mindset of we've got to score 2 regardless.
I'm probably somewhere in between you two. I get where you're coming from, pragmatically, very difficult, very unlikely. But I can understand a little bit of belief there, because you just never know.
Messi have 2 bad games. I mean, we had one. We didn't take our chance there.
Well, and get away with another little.
I reckon it's more likely to score 5 against us than have a bad game against us.
There's so many reasons to have belief in this one. We did the exact thing that we're saying we're never going to do in the last round of the Champions League.
Right, you can also throw it in the group stage. If you'd have made that a cup tie, we was schooled and nilled at home by Juventus, and if you aggregate it up, we would have won away on away goals.
That's a good point.
We did the same, schooled and nilled at home by Paris, beat them on away goals. We're going to get bummed off Barcelona.
You're usually the guy who says these outlandish statements that they clip up and play later on.
Out of context.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. I just want you to say
Nothing I say in context is wrong.
So you're just saying we've not got a chance?
No, we've got a chance. But it's mega slim. It's mega slim. It's like, it's not a likelihood that's going to happen. Barcelona don't lose at home often. They don't lose at home often in the knockout stages of the Champions League. Messi doesn't have 2 bad games back to back. Barcelona don't generally have tons of bad games back to back. This is a team that's won their league moonwalking it this year. This is a team that has got world-class players throughout the team. You know, they're not relying on people playing out of position and people that probably don't even belong in our starting 11 or their starting 11. This is a team that has got the second best player that's ever played the game. So he's not going to have 2 back-to-back shockers because that's how good he is. And the season he's having as well, he's having a vintage season for a vintage player. He's not having we kept him quiet in the first game. You're not keeping him quiet twice. Good players like that learn. No, he's gonna know what Chris Smalling's about for this one. And
well, maybe Chris Smalling's learned what Messi's about.
No.
Yeah, Messi's quaking in his boots about Chris Smalling, not the other way around.
Do you remember Chris Smalling, them quotes that he was coming out with before the game?
I don't get the grief that he gets, Chris Smalling. And he said it, for me, he said exactly what you want a United player to say.
What can he say?
Oh no, I'm dreading this one.
Exactly, if you missed
Please
these
don't put
quotes,
me
by the way,
against
Smalling
Messi.
came out before the last game saying that he's ready to take him on, and didn't he say something
I
like, I know what
relish
he's
these
about?
sort of games also.
No, that was a lie.
Was that a made-up bit
Yeah,
that I've
yeah.
seen?
He
Yeah.
said
Which
I
is
relish
genius
it.
if someone
Yeah, but he did say
I know how to stop him. But guess what? He actually did.
Yeah, exactly. He did a very good job of it as well. The whole defence did. Right. Okay. So us getting progressively worse at the minute. It's becoming a real worry for us because even getting the win, it was one of our worst performances weekend just gone against West Ham. Where do you reckon that stems from? Is it the manager? Is it the players just getting used to the Ollie effect, if you like, and now just going back to normal?
I don't say going back to normal. I get where you're coming from. I think obviously momentum is a big thing. When you're just winning and you keep winning, all right, you have the occasional draw, it helps you. And then when you lose, it deflates everyone, and it's trying to pick that up again. I think there's an element of teams raising a game against us as well. We suddenly became the team to beat. It was like United went from this team that everyone was a bit like, what? Who are you? They're a spent force to United are flying. We've really got to be up for this one, and teams are, and we're up for it. And I think Ollie tactically sometimes hasn't got it right. Not all the time. Sometimes he's got to take his share of the blame because ultimately it's the manager that picks the team. We were very quick to blame the previous manager when anything went wrong. And I think Ollie's had a bit of a pass. But on the whole, I think it's a sort of mixture of all those things. Sometimes Ollie's been a little bit naive. And I do think we're too reliant on certain players, Paul Pogba and Marcus Rashford. I think those 2 players, the way United play, was so reliant on him. And if they have an off day, or if someone's got their number, we're in serious trouble. We saw it against PSG in the home leg with Pogba. As soon as Marquinhos was on him and keeping him quiet, we didn't have a plan B. It all went went wrong. And with Marcus, when he gets a knocker, he's carrying a little bit of an injury, which we've seen, and he's not quite at 100%. We struggle. And listen, big Martial fan, I'm actually one of Lukaku's defenders a lot of the time, but they're not the same as Marcus Rashford. I think the way we play, we're a much better team when Marcus Rashford is firing on all cylinders. And I think we're just too reliant on those 2 players.
What do you make of that? Pogba, Rashford, overly reliant on those 2?
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Because who else are you going to depend on, really? I mean, Marcus, I think, gets a lot of unfair stick. I think if he had a price tag attached to him, or if he was foreign, I think he'd get treated differently.
Not disagreeing with you, but how can Marcus Rashford get unfair stick? I don't understand. He's a young lad, not that long been in the team. You know what I mean? I know he does. I remember when we were going through that period of the season and people were saying send him on loan to Leeds. And a lot of people were saying this. This is what I mean. It wasn't just 1 or 2 maniacs.
I think there's an element with Marcus that because he's an academy player, people think he's not that good, and they like to compare him to some of these youngsters that are flying around Europe.
Yeah.
You put Marcus in the French league, he's scoring 35, 40 goals. We saw Raheem Sterling this weekend for City. He misses an open net, but 3 minutes later he gets another chance and he puts it away.
How's Mbappe been since we knocked him out of the Champions League?
Oh, they got twatted this weekend. So, in a Farmers League. Look, Marcus gets a lot of unfair stick, but he's up against it. I mean, he's had a tough time with a manager that I think tolerated him rather than liked him, even though he played him a lot. I think he really tolerated him. Since Ollie came in, he started to play his game. His numbers went through the roof. Then he's picked up a knock. Because he's picked up the knock, there's other things going on as well. The balls aren't coming through from midfield for him. People are starting to realise that we have to play through Pogba, which is why I think we need another ball player in midfield. I think Juan Mata could potentially do that job, in all honesty.
Yeah.
But him and Jesse at weekend took away from each other's performance because you could have thrown a blanket over the pair of them. So I think that you've got to stretch the play on one hand, but you've also got to have people that you can go to in case Marcus gets marked out of a game, in case Pogba gets marked out of a game. because that's a way for us to find out. And good teams are able to do that against you. Aside from them, what have you got in the team that's going to hurt you? And that's an issue. Jesse Lingard's a fantastic player without the ball. But on the ball, let's be honest, he's not a guy that dictates play and he doesn't dictate games. Some people still can't get into their head that he can be a top player without the ball. And they're like, he just runs around a lot. Yeah, that's exactly what he does, mate. Yeah, that's exactly what he does. Marshall, for me, is one that gets an unbelievable amount of leeway with the United fan base.
Does a little bit,
You can't criticise Marshall without Marshall FC losing their shit, and McCullough being one of them.
But recently, Martial has been very poor. He's been one of our worst players, I'd say.
We wrongly moved him in the middle against West Ham because he was lazy. We put Marcus on the left because he was going to work, when in reality, we should have kept Marshall out on the left and gone with Marcus down the middle, because I think the link-up play between him and Mason Greenwood's pretty good. And I'm hearing it's very good in training as well.
So players like Martial, maybe those players who haven't turned up recently, are they dropped for this game straight away for you, Jay?
Definitely. I think Martial played his way out of the team. Any consideration that on Saturday, I don't think he would have played anyway, to be honest with you. I don't think he was going to play him on Saturday and then play him again on Tuesday. But I don't think he did anything against West Ham to make you think we've got to start him in the new camp. He was, as Howson's alluded to, he was lazy, he looked poor, didn't really get going. And I think I do it, if I say anything derogatory about Anthony Marshall, I'm quick to put a disclaimer in, because I feel like the wrath of Marshall FC. I'll say, like, he had a bad game, but I still rate him. He was poor, but I still think he's quality.
This is what's frustrating about the guy.
You're scared.
He might be the best dribbler in the country.
Yeah.
His close control is ridiculous.
Oh, we've seen that so many times. He's almost like, he reminds me a little bit of Hazard at times. So a low centre of gravity, and he just weaves past.
It's a natural ability.
He's big. He shouldn't have that with being that big.
Yeah.
And when he's on the ball, he's rapid. But for me, he doesn't work enough off the ball. And I think this Ole Gunnar Solskjaer team is going to be built off working hard off the ball and then electric pace on it. And when I say off the ball, I don't mean when we've not got the ball as well. I think if you watch Marcus off the ball, and I don't know how this comes across on TV, but when you're watching it in the stadium, Marcus is always making little runs, constantly moving around, and Tony kind of stands there a little bit. That's frustrating to me.
I feel for I feel for Lukaku as well, because no matter what we say about Lukaku, and I've defended him, but I've also criticised him when I think he deserves it. He grafts and he tries. You know what I mean? And he's constantly up and down. He backtracks as well when you need him to, and I think you don't get that from certain other players who, as you said, get a lot of leeway with United fans. Okay,
going a bit more in depth on the Barcelona team to play United in a little bit, and also all the Man United team predictions. It's on the way. Right, we're back. Barcelona preview, starting 11, predicted 11 time. I'm just looking at the table at the minute. Who's highest out of us three? It's us two. We're joined 8.1, but you have it on 13 appearances, where I've done 8. And right towards the bottom of the table. Sorry, I just need to keep scrolling here.
I think you did. I think you got 7 last time.
Sorry, hang on. I just need to keep scrolling.
Here's West Ham.
So I just need to keep scrolling to get to the bottom of the league table and find Jay there.
How many appearances have I had?
Joint bottom.
How many cracks of the whip have I had? About 2.
Literally 2.
Yeah.
But still.
It's harder to maintain a percentage as you go along. There's more chance for error.
But I got thrown in last minute in the midst of the Mourinho trying everyone he can stage, where you guys get the 11 picks itself.
Sounds like an excuse.
It's because you're one of the fringe contributors that we bring in for the League Cup games. That's why.
I am Matty O'Damian of this FullTimeDEVILS lineup.
You're not, because we've actually seen you.
That's a point.
Also today, because
Damian's not even got a tracksuit that fits him anymore. He's still got last year's.
Don't have a squad number. Since it is only the 3 of us here on today's preview, I thought I'd put in a starting 11 prediction as well. But we may as well start with Jay, since you are so low down the table. Jay, who's going to play for United against Barca?
Right, I'm going to go with the 4-3-3, even though that might sound like madness. I'll go with De Gea, obviously. I think Ashley Young, because Luke Shaw's suspended, so I think Ashley Young's going to come in at left back. Don't start me. I'm just saying what I think will happen rather than what should happen before you start digging me out for that one. Centre back, I'm going to go Smalling and Lindelof. Right back, I'm going to go with Delo. The midfield 3, I think, will be McTominay. He's the main man. Got to start him. Paul Pogba and Nemanja Matic, and I think it'll be Fred as well. Or sorry, swap that round. Got that wrong way round. It'll be midfield will be Fred, McTominay, and Matic. Paul Pogba slightly forward, and then you'll have Lukaku and Marcus Rashford. That makes sense.
It's more of a 4-4-2 diamond than a 4-4-3.
Yeah, sorry, I just as I started laying it out, it is a bit more of a diamond. Yeah, I think that's how it'll go. I think Pogba will be a bit further forward than the others.
Team?
I quite like the idea of a diamond, especially when you're counter-attacking. I think it gives you a lot of stability through the middle. It forces the opposition wide. And you kind of want that with Barcelona. You don't want them knocking it around in the middle if you can help it. But I think we did very well with the back three. Now, I worry because Luke Shaw's out. I thought he did a fantastic job. There's not really many other people that you can put there. And I am terrified he's going to go with Rowo because that's crazy. So I'm hoping...
He had a shocker at the weekend as well, didn't he?
To be honest, I wouldn't pick Ashley Young, but he's gonna, right?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. He's going to be leading us out in the new camp.
He's not in my team.
Ashley Young's going to be leading us. Just, do when you go, I wonder why we got battered in the new camp.
When you've seen Phil Jones taking corners, you've seen you can handle Ashley Young leading us out in the new camp, be fine.
When you've seen Nick Powell come on for Juan Mata, you've seen it all.
We've seen some mad shit in the last 5 years, haven't we?
Oh, it's been a ride, hasn't it?
Days.
Been a ride.
You're telling your grandkids about this one day.
They won't believe you. They have to show them pictures.
like,
Look.
They'll be like,
This is the evidence.
what? So you scored 2 goals in added time in 99 with a treble. It's dead believable, that. But Nick Powell coming on for Juan Mata, what?
Phil Jones taking corners. I'm not having it.
I think he might play him right back. And he might go with the low left back because obviously we saw a little bit of that last week. That's crazy to me.
Listen,
but I think that's what's going to happen.
I've defended Ashley, you know I have. I mean, you've gone toe to toe over it many years now. But
I think you're losing.
I was going to say, yeah.
You're just waiting till he gets that old and rubbish that I've got no choice but to lose.
The last 5 years.
But we saw.
Someone told me I'm jumping on the bandwagon of
a bandwagon.
I drive it.
Yeah, exactly.
I go around picking people up.
He put the wheels on that bandwagon. Believe me. He's slaying up before he signed. But I just think that even though he must see that it wasn't working with him. I
hope so. Oh my!
And we were getting a lot of joy down there as well, which is the most frustrating thing.
I think Barcelona eventually was just like.
Do you think seriously? Do you
the
think that was an element of?
I think
there
was some
that
element
urgency
of
to get out to him and close him down because
yeah, because he's just going to
if we defend the cross, the cross will be terrible. Yeah.
So I think it'll be him on the right with Delo on the left. I'd like it to be the other way around, if anything. I'd like it not to be Ashley Young, but I think he will be. So Young at left back, Delo right back, and I'm going to go with a back three of Matic, Lindelof, and Smalling. Mostly just putting Matic in there, sweeping a little bit.
Okay.
Organising, because I think he can be a little bit vocal, but more importantly, he can step out with the ball.
Yeah,
he can't play with the ball at his feet. And
I feel like we're a bit slow with the ball sometimes. Is what I worry about if he's closed down quite quickly.
I mean, think how much time he has in midfield. You put him at centre half, he gets an extra 5 yards. Barcelona don't generally press that hard from the front with the likes of Messi. So you can put him probably. I won't put him on Messi because Messi's going to dance for his legs. Yeah. You put Lindelof.
Do you know what I like about that as well? Is one thing that gets frustrated a little bit is the amount of times that the likes of Fred and Pogba have to come deep to get the ball, and that's what we're attacking.
He's there to move the ball up the pitch a little bit and keep them to. Because let's be honest, Smalling's going to be occupied. Lindelof's going to be occupied. You need a third defender in there, and his defending's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think from set pieces, from crosses coming in when they occasionally do, because they do put them into Suarez sometimes, not usually to Messi. He can deal with that in the air pretty effectively, as well as Smalling, because we are likely to see one or two of them get dragged out of position by the movement of their forward line. The midfield, Fred is the first name on the team sheet in that midfield for me. I thought he's been our best player the last 2 weeks. I thought up against Barcelona he did a top defensive job. Against West Ham, I thought he did a top job with the ball at his feet as well, moving it up the pitch, which is almost what I wanted to see from Pogba.
He's been our best player while we've been out of form, and I'd say Fred.
Well,
possibly one of the defenders, Smalling or Jones maybe even.
I'd have to go back and have a look at more, because he has had a couple of clangers himself, but it's not affected his confidence. He's bounced back really well, so I like resilience in that.
Yeah.
You got to play Pogba because he is still the man that can hurt them on his day. And alongside them, McTominay's got to just do that dead basic job that he's there to do. I mean, people are like, we don't need to sign anyone now, we'll just play McTominay. Look, he's very, very good defensively, but if you watch what he does on the ball, there's times when he's got the opportunity to drive, to move the ball up the pitch, and he just doesn't have in his locker, and he plays it safe, which I got no problem with. And rather that than him thinking he's 1999 Paul Scholes.
Yeah.
But there's limitations to his game. When he's playing a very simple game, he's top, and that's what you want from him. And up front, the threat has got to be Lukaku and it's got to be Marcus Rashford, and play them as a pair because you occupy both Longley and you occupy PK, and you can see Lukaku drift off to the right, gives a bit of balance, and his crossing's actually mint for a striker. It might be one of his best assets is his crossing. Let him get a crossing for for Rashford, and also you play Lukaku if you're going to play Delo at right back, because he's going to get some crosses in. You'd expect on the left, if Young gets the opportunity to cross the halfway line, he'll put some in towards the back stick to that right hand side towards Lukaku. So I think you're gearing up 2 players to be able to find Lukaku, and then Lukaku, when he gets the ball, to be able to find Marcus. Or you're looking for Pogba to try and find Marcus in behind PK and in behind like the likes of Semedo and that as they push on. We can score a goal.
Yeah.
It's can we not score, concede 5. That's the issue, I think. And I think the answer is probably no.
Can we just all agree here, and everyone watching as well, if we do play a blinder, we do actually get the win, and McTominay especially is absolutely unbelievable. Can we all make sure we don't talk about how good his performance is, just in case the Glazers are watching? Just in case, and they go by logic and say, we don't need to sign anyone now.
If we somehow manage to snaffle our way through this, it's Liverpool in the semi-final.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
I'm going to celebrate and immediately throw up, I think.
If that was in our hands to stop them winning it, if it was actually something that was in our hands instead of relying on City all the time, I'd be happy. We've just become reliant on City to stop Liverpool winning things, and it just pains
Do you know how
me.
minging it was watching the City
all the
Palace game and watch them score and go...
Moving
So
on, because I feel
conflicted.
ill and this conversation makes me feel nauseous. Right, this is my team. David De Gea, Delo, Smalling, Lindelof, and Manchester United's forgotten man at left back. I'm putting Darmian in there. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Things have happened.
Darmian's not going to play against Barcelona. But I'm not.
Might be the wild card.
Maybe he's been training for 6 weeks with like Rocky IV soundtrack on, having it.
This game.
Hearts on fire, like that.
I just didn't want to put Ashley Young in it, to be honest.
I can roll with that.
Even he put him in.
Look, I don't.
It's gonna happen.
I don't have the agenda against Ashley Young.
I can't believe someone
like
accused you jumping on that one.
like Stephen Howson does. But that game against Barcelona was so shocking, and to see him wearing the captain's armband when we've known he's not good enough for so long, it's not even a
Some
slant
of the
at
players
him.
that have led
This.
United out against Barcelona in the past.
Believe,
Yes,
I believe that.
Listen, he tries, man. It's not his fault if he's
No.
not up to it.
Jay,
Exactly, it's not his fault.
It's
He
not
gets
his
picked.
fault, is it? If he's
Jay.
33-year-old winger playing at right back, it's not his
Do you know-
fault if he's not up to it.
do you know when people go, but he tries? It's not his fault.
Is
right?
it though? Is it
That's-
his fault that he's not? If you can see it wasn't working, right? Everyone could see it wasn't working. Why didn't the manager change it?
Do you know what's his fault?
Go on.
30 times losing possession, 11 out. 0 out of 11.
Why was he
goals.
given the opportunity?
And
to lose
also,
it
why
30
was he-
times?
why-
Why didn't anyone like Mickey Phelan or Ollie go? This is obviously not working. Change it.
What I don't understand is
Cracking.
why was Ashley Young playing right back and Delo was playing left wing? I'd rather it the other way round, honestly.
Everyone knew we needed
Do you know
a
what
change.
I know as well? People
but
go, you think you know better than the manager? Yeah, I do. In that instance, I do. Actually, yeah, I do.
Right, well, I ain't going to make
Not
no
often.
claims like that, but let's
Yeah.
move on. The rest of my team, McTominay, Fred as the
Everyone thought
two
they were
centre
better than Mourinho.
midfielders. Lingard, Pogba and Rashford playing behind Lukaku. Actually swapped those two round, Rashford and Lukaku, because I think it'll be Lukaku who starts on the left and Rashford up top. Thoughts on that team? There's not really any difference.
Lingard.
Much massive
Lukaku on the
differences
left
from your
wing.
team there. Yeah, I think we could see that.
I don't know if
We could
Lingard
see
will
that.
play.
We saw it. Or the right, possibly. We saw it in the last game against
Or
West
down the
Ham.
middle.
Lukaku played quite a bit of time on that wing.
I
He
don't know.
did, on the right.
The only
could see
thing,
it happening.
the only
There's a
thing
reason
that,
he plays on the right.
I think with that team is I don't know if Lingard will start. I don't know about that. I think he's
So,
played a
like,
lot of football lately for someone who's not fully fit.
I would
I
have
think
quite
he's a
liked
good
Juan
option.
Mata in there, but he had such a poor
But
game against
I know,
West Ham there.
He's a good option because like, I think Jesse had the most tackles on the pitch. Weekend
He was
against
unlucky
West
as
Ham,
well when he came on
which you
against
forget
Barca
about.
because he got that stupid booking that was never a booking,
Mm.
and I think that affected him a little bit because he was like he literally it wasn't even a foul.
We're going to need to win the ball back. And even though I've not picked him in my team because I've gone for a different sort of setup, if it was Rashford up top on your own, and we'll put Lingard in to play off you and to sort of run around and all that lot, then I understand the reasoning why. And that's all I ever want to do when the team comes out. I don't want to go, I'll give you that far.
Yeah.
Whereas anytime in an away game or you're up against a big opposition, Jesse Lingard's a brilliant option to go with, especially against Barcelona when you're going to have, I don't know, in the new camp, what we're going to have about 4% possession. So you're going to have to play a lot without the ball. So you want a guy that's best without the ball at his feet. What Jesse Lingard does when we're in possession, when we're out of possession, is he works off the ball. He's always on the move. He's ADD, innit?
Yeah.
Hyperactive knobhead.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the guy, but you are. So like, that's what you want
Love
in a
it.
team. You need someone that's going to have that. Because too often I see off the ball, Lukaku will be standing flat-footed.
Yeah,
Marshall will
yeah,
be standing flat-footed.
Like the last game, West
It's
Ham.
easy at Marcus. So you have
So
Jesse
bad
who
for
just he gets bored if he's standing still for about half a second. So he just needs to go move and do stuff. And that actually has a tangible impact on how you play.
Well, it's the fact that the guy's got something mentally quite not right that's making him such an effective player.
Well, we can't now.
Oh, let's not make these accusations about the mental stability of our footballers.
Hey, I'm not
please.
saying he's unstable.
If anything, you're saying he's ultra stable.
Yeah.
He's full of beans.
Right,
That's
moving
what it's all about.
moving on swiftly. Let's talk about Barcelona and talk about unstable players. Luis Suarez is going to play. Right, no, they rested a load of players, didn't they, over the weekend, Barcelona?
Yeah.
So that was sort of the bad news to go with the good news that they did drop points. But they're going to have a fully fresh team.
McTominay and mirrors everywhere. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
They're going to have a fully fresh team to play us. Jay, I was about to say, anywhere in their team that you're particularly scared of, but come on.
It's obvious, isn't it? I mean, Howson's already mentioned it there. How often does Lionel Messi have one bad game, let alone two on the trot? Listen, I'm with you. I thought Smart did a great job, broke his nose as well, I think, which probably helps. He can't keep doing that. It's going to be difficult to keep Messi quiet. 2 games on the run. I think we can do it. I think we can go through. I just don't know if we will. It's very difficult. I'm not quite as confident as you. I think, obviously, the reason that we all talk about Messi and Suarez is because they are so brilliant, and it pains me to say that.
No, the reason I talk about so much about Suarez is because he's a dickhead.
Well, there's that as well. Yeah, that's a good point. Messi, he's just keeping him quiet. That's the main thing. You know, we can talk about all the other players all you want. And you can say, oh, this player's effective, or this player has a saying it, and I get it. But it is just about Messi. And I think now more than ever, I think they're more reliant on him. In the past, where you've had the likes of your Xavis and your Iniestas and your David Villas and all the rest of it, I don't think that this is a vintage Barcelona team, which may sound crazy because I'm aware they're going for a treble and they might do it. But I think it's just about him almost. And I think, yes, Suarez weighs in and he's a top quality player, even if he was a bit of a muppet. But Messi's just unplayable at a minute, and I think it's just about stopping him. I think if we can stop him in the new camp, which is a massive if, it's probably the biggest if ever, then we've got a good chance.
Sorry if I'm putting you both on the spot here, but have Barcelona won the treble before?
Yeah, they won it under Pep.
Have they done it more than once?
They did it under Villanova as well, I think. Or was it under Luis Enrique? Yeah, they've done a treble.
Yeah, they did do it under. I think they've done it 3. I mean, didn't Pep do it twice and Enrique do it once?
I think so. At least.
Right, okay.
I know Pep did it against us in 2009. That was his.
It don't matter that they're on for the treble then. They've made it
they
special
won the treble.
They've ruined it. They've ruined the treble.
The
now,
league is
haven't
rubbish anyway. Anyone can win that.
Alison, what can you tell me about Barcelona? Not much to tell, really.
No, I think Jay's covered it. You know, they're a top team. They're a team that's not quite vintage for them, but still one of the favourites to lift the trophy at the end of the day. I don't think Suarez is at the peak of his powers. I don't think a lot of the players are at the peak of their powers. It's certainly not the sort of side that we faced in 2009, 2011. But they're better than us. You know, they've got a defence that's miles better than us. Arguably, there's probably not too much in the midfield, but they've also got Lionel Messi, and you know, you can call them a one-man team all you want. I don't think that's an insult, to be honest. Look at what happened to Real Madrid when they lost Ronaldo. The same thing is going to happen at some stage when they lose Lionel Messi. It's actually a testament to how good United was that we made one Champions League final after losing Ronaldo. You've got to keep Messi quiet. And people said, can't mark him. But you can, and we did.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you can. I think you definitely can. But what you've not got to do is what we did in the first leg, which is where I think we thought we took him wide and lost the threat. And then he puts a reverse ball back and no one's picked up Suarez going into the back post. We've got to stay switched on to all of them, not just him. Because they can still all hurt you. You know, they might not be Messi, but they're still good players and they can still definitely hurt you. So you've got to do what we did in the first leg, but we've got to take better chances and create more chances and not be fearless. We can concede a goal. It's not the end of the world.
I worry as well about the ref. I know it's not you're not allowed to say that, it's sour grapes and all that.
Get the excuses in. Come on, Jay. That's what I like to hear.
You can't tell me Busquets should have stayed on the pitch against United at Old Trafford. The guy did 4 yellow card offences, got 1 yellow card. Jesse comes on, barely touches someone.
I still don't know what he did.
I know, he didn't. Even he was like, what is that for? What have I done? And he gets a yellow card straight away. Busquets is doing all sorts, including handballs. Doesn't get a yellow card.
But we need more on this channel, mate. Bitterness. Look, we're going to beat Barcelona, and if we don't, it's the ref's fault. That's it.
It's that difficult to beat them anyway that you can't beat them when you've got a referee who's being lenient.
We've seen some shocking. Some of the ones with Chelsea were ridiculous.
You know, and
it's like the Drogba.
Far be it
it's a
for me
fucking
to
disgrace.
defend Chelsea, but yeah.
No, this is what I mean. This is how bad it is. You're actually sticking up for Chelsea almost. We see it time and time again with Barcelona. Old Trafford's bad enough. in the new camp, I shudder to think what is going to happen. And it, when you've got someone like, say, McTominay, a young lad, and if he gets an early yellow, it can massively affect his game. So I just hope we get a fair crack at the whip.
To Turin in '99, 2 players got booked. One Zed went, and that was Paul Scholes. Paul Scholes' Zed went, and he didn't do anything else in the rest of that game. But the mentality of Roy Keane was
get my team to the final,
roll his sleeves up and go to work. And we don't know what we've got in certain players. We might have. Unfortunately, I mean, it's pretty good in the rest of his games, but Paul Scholes lost his head in that moment, and Roy Keane didn't. Are we going to have someone that's going to step up to that sort of level? Because there's quite a few players on yellows.
Score prediction.
Lose 3-1.
To us?
Lose 3-1.
Oh, I thought you said a loose.
Stop listening to
I thought you said a loose 3-1 at first. I thought, what do you mean by that?
Barcelona 3, Manchester United FC 1.
And that means we lose, right?
Yes.
Okay. Jay, score.
2-1 to United.
Yes!
We're going through.
That's right.
Do you know what? Sack it. We're going to do it. I know he hates it. It's written in the stars.
Say 5-0, guys.
1-0 United.
And then what?
We're going to do it on penalties. I think we'll do it on penalties.
I'd say any way of getting through, it'd be amazing no matter how we do it.
It would be one of the best nights. One of our best European nights since, well, a couple of months ago, I suppose.
Best European night since a couple of months ago.
Exactly. Get in the comments below. Tell us what you think about the nonsense we've spoken about today. Tell me how we're going to beat Barcelona. And hopefully we'll be back as very excited Reds after we've done it. But we'll see. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Jay's on the channel all the time. Anything else we need to plug, Jay?
No, just like you said, just subscribe. That's it.
Just subscribe to him.
I'm not plugging anything.
Go and subscribe to him as well. You know where to find him. Where did he find
Norman
you?
Whiteside talking about that 84 Barcelona game today. It'll be out, so go and watch that.
Go and watch that.
I'll be watching that.
See you next time.